Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Young Rels coming back with another video on Nuff Said Takes channel, where we're gonna go ahead and break down this episode 2 and see where this episode is gonna take us today. Alright, so if you like my content, just go ahead and hit a like, subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you like more. Alright, basically this episode starts off with them deliberating in the council, and they kind of show how Rhaenyra's in there all the time listening, paying attention to what's going on, as usual. Like in the first episode, Corlys comes in there, and he's telling the king, he's like, listen, man, we got some problems out here in the sea, and we need you to fix it, man. And I also want to talk to you. He's like, listen, Otto Hightower, man, this guy got a lot of attitude. But comes in, tells the king all this, and the king just kind of blows him off, and he's just kind of upset. So Corlys seems to be upset with the king all the time. And then, well, we're powerful enough. We have dragons. And you guys can go ahead and ride in with the dragons and take over and do whatever we want to do. That's when Otto Hightower, he kind of interjects, says a little something. Kind of basically says that Rhaenyra doesn't even need to be there. It's none of her business. Rhaenyra doesn't like that. She's supposed to be coming into her own. Otto Hightower seems to be kind of stepping in the way, and she kind of doesn't like that. You can definitely see that there's going to be issues between Rhaenyra and Otto Hightower. They're already foreshadowing that. You can see that already. And in this episode, they really do this kind of like weird contrast where everybody has their own scenes with each other. Like Rhaenyra has a scene with Alicent, and it's kind of like tense because she's doing her little side thing. Rhaenyra really doesn't know, and it's kind of like on some funny friendship stuff. So yeah, they got that going on in that scene. And then they do another contrast with Alicent and Viserys. So they do that, and it's kind of a little strange, but they're kind of telling you how their relationship kind of starts off, and that was pretty cool too. I mean, they did a lot of contrast, and it was pretty cool to see them bring those two characters together, show us who they really are. Alright, so this is where the real juicy part of the episode comes in. So after the king had dismissed Corlys, and he kind of comes back and sets up a meeting with his wife, Rhaenys. So they come together with the king, and they kind of have this conversation. He goes, listen, you need a succession, you need somebody to wed, and you wed my daughter. The king's he's young, and he just wants to breed the lines and kind of bring the families together, bring up his power, and he's kind of on a power trip, Corlys, but he wants that because it was almost his. It was almost at his fingertips. And you can understand why, someone would really try to focus on something like that your whole entire life, the rest of your life, if the throne of the Seven Kingdoms is right there. You gotta admit, though, it was definitely a nice play. Team Corlys. Alright, now this is kind of where you start to see in the next scene where Otto Hightower's slickness and sliminess really comes into play. He has his own agenda. So Viserys basically tells Otto Hightower, hey, listen, man, Corlys came up to me and he kind of was like, listen, marry my daughter. And Otto Hightower's like, she's young. And everybody's like, yeah, we know she's young. The king's like, listen, what do you think I should do? And this is where you see his conniving, or I don't know, I guess his reach for power for the throne too is coming in on his own. So it's really fun to see that him and Corlys kind of have the same strategy going on, and you kind of even see that in the first scene when they both walk in into the throne room. So it's pretty cool. But Otto Hightower is slick. That's what I'm saying. He's a slick guy, slick, slimy, gel back hair guy. You know what I mean? Okay, so then they kind of move to the next scene where Viserys kind of meets up with Rhaenys and Corlys' daughter, and she's young. And it's kind of weird because, he's like 50 something and she's like 12. You can definitely see where Viserys was just like, she's young. And he's been talking to Alicent the whole time. So they kind of basically set up this whole, listen, if I'm going to get married to somebody, it's going to be somebody I was talking to, and it's going to be Alicent. So they set that up basically to let you know that she's definitely going to be getting married with Viserys, and that's happening in this episode. So yeah, that's what happens. Basically, she gets married. In that scene, Corlys is really pissed off, and of course Rhaenyra's really pissed off too. So you can kind of see where it kind of was like they both were mad about that, especially when they were just talking about being friends in earlier scenes. And that whole Corlys daughter marriage thing, that was really cringe. Alright, so we move on to the next scene. The king finds out that Daemon is getting married. Otto Hightower basically lets everybody know that she's a whore, and the king doesn't really need to be worried about what Daemon's doing. But he did actually go ahead and take dragon stone for himself with the golden cloaks and the army that he has, and he's kind of surrounded it. Kind of stole the dragon egg from Viserys and basically took it for his own. And there was gonna be like this huge battle that Otto Hightower wanted to go ahead and like put himself in the place of the king, because the king was gonna go, and he did. Cool for that. But then Daemon starts getting upset, so he brings in his dragon, and the dragon is looking really good, man. Nice red skin, big red teeth. Otto Hightower is like, yo, listen, put your swords away. Put your swords away now. As soon as you seen that dragon, it's already over with. Try to put the swords away now. So then Rhaenyra flies in with her dragon, kind of lands it, and kind of walks through the crowd and talks to Daemon and says, if you want to go ahead and take the throne, you're going to have to kill me. And he couldn't do it, of course, so he just walks away. Dang, I thought they were going to fight there, but they didn't fight. Yeah, it was definitely a cool scene. The dragons were looking nice. I really like the dragons. Alright, so in the next scene, basically, to kind of put it all to an end, you know, Corlys is kind of fed up, like I said, with the king not listening to him. He has this threat coming at him from a different location, and he's been trying to warn the king. He's not really listening, so he goes to Daemon Targaryen. That's right, guys. He goes to Daemon Targaryen, and he tells him, listen, I'll back up your succession for the throne as long as you help me get rid of this threat, because if I lose this, everything will be gone no matter what happens. So he goes ahead and he asks Daemon Targaryen for help, and I'm guessing that's how all of this starts to begin to unravel over time. You know, you gotta have somebody who doesn't like the king go over to the wrong side or the other side, and that's how I'm starting to see how it's gonna happen. So it looks good so far, man. I like it. But that's basically the episode, guys. I really like that episode. Let me go ahead and drop some of my thoughts on that, right? Alright, guys, I gotta say I did really like this episode. If I would go ahead and rate it, I'll say it would be like a 7.5 out of 10. I ain't gonna lie, it was a pretty good episode. They did kind of, drop the ball on the fight scene. They kind of like, boasted it up in the trailers and all that stuff, and it didn't really go anywhere. But that's cool though. You know, they did show some nice, good CGI dragons at that time. So I did like that scene, and I did like the episode, definitely. Gotta say that for some reason, man, it doesn't seem like to be, for me, an issue with all the characters. Like, I like the characters. I seem to be lost in the Game of Thrones lore already, like, for some reason. I like it already. And all those other characters that were in the first Game of Thrones, like, I'm not saying I'm forgetting about them already, but I'm interested in learning about these new characters. That's how I feel about it. Also, gotta say, man, I really do like what I'm seeing in Otto Hightower. He seemed like he was gonna be like kind of like the Ned Stark kind of character, but he seems like he's more like the Littlefinger kind of character, and he's very slick and sly. So I like what I'm seeing with him. It's definitely benefits of the show. I was wondering where they were gonna get these Littlefinger spider characters, and I'm trying to figure out, but Otto Hightower is definitely showing that side for sure, and I like it. Oh yeah, Alicent's sneaky too, if I didn't mention that earlier, by the way. Another thing is they basically try to tell us how fast things could spiral and unspiral. Like, I mean, how quickly that situation came about, even though it was after 6 or 7 months or however long after Daemon stole dragons. They're basically saying stuff can happen fast. So that's what I'm hearing, and it can unravel fast how quickly Rhaenyra, settled that situation. So, and I could definitely say this episode was really good. So, with that being said, definitely my thoughts on the episode. It was a very good episode, nice setup episode for more things to come. But if you guys got anything to say, just go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, and then we can go ahead and talk about it. And if you want more content, you can always hit that notification bell if you want more. Alright, that was my episode 2 review and my thoughts. And I'm going to be back with another episode, episode 3, this Sunday on this channel, Nuff Said Takes. Thanks, guys, for coming. Peace.